Hey, hi everyone. This is Sai from Let's Upgrade. So let's talk about how to get your certificate. It's very simple. You will see two links in the description. Number one is the place where you have to go and mark your attendance. Marking your attendance tells us, like, okay, you are a legit student who have attended this particular session. Link number two is your assignment. This is where your 90% of the priority is. You have to go and submit the assignment that is given to you in this particular session. Once you're done submitting that assignment, we will be evaluating that. We will send you an email. If you get the passing criteria, then only we will give you the certificate on a particular date that is mentioned again in the description. Please check these three things, and this is the way how you will get a certificate from Let's Upgrade. Number one, mark your attendance. Number two, just go ahead and upload your assignment. Check for the email that you have received it, yes or no. What is the feedback that you have received from your trainer? Number three, check on which date the certificates will be released. Thank you. Bye. All the best. Happy learning.
All right, welcome family. Welcome back to yet another live session, and we are recording something very special for all of you. If you are a regular fan and regular follower of Let's Upgrade, you would by this time know that Let's Upgrade keeps on doing a lot of AI-based workshops, a lot of IT tech-related sessions. We will talk about many different things from full stack development to AI, to machine learning, to data science, to data visualization, to all important techniques, be one developer, be different type of programming languages. So here we are back today, and as you all know that I am your AI guy to reach. So I will be teaching you today yet another interesting prompt technique which really works wonders when you are learning something. So in this series where we are talking about different prompts, we have already covered so many different ways. The Socrates method was really interesting, my personal favorite when I have to discuss about few concepts. We also broke down into many different ways through which we can help learn from AI and generate prompts which are useful for us in different various purposes. We have yet another interesting technique that we will talk about today, and when I say I'm talking about some past sessions, I never mean that this session has any linkage to our previous sessions. Well, the best part about Let's Upgrade, the beauty of joining our sessions live is that we never repeat or merge our sessions all together. The point is that even if you have zero prerequisites, you are fresher, you are a beginner, you are completely okay to start from this session right now, right here. Okay, because we will talk about a little bit about how to prompt models, what are generative models, and how we can talk about something today. Okay, now we will come to the screenshot that I'm sharing you. I'll talk about these things. We'll talk about this technique soon. Okay, now by the title, by what we are doing today, I think the picture is very much clear. We are talking about Feynman technique, right? So Richard Feynman is the Nobel Prize physicist on behalf of which we are learning this. Okay, and I'll guide you through that session. Before we begin that, let us first understand that what are generative models. Okay, so generative models are something that came into trend. They became viral after ChatGPT, and these models are good at generating responses for us. Okay, to keep it simple, we all have seen examples of how we can talk to ChatGPT, ask ChatGPT some common questions, maybe ask ChatGPT to write an email for us, ask ChatGPT or Gemini or any model to write an essay, poem, or some story, summarize something, translate something. If we haven't at this point, I would recommend that we all should, because the wave of generative models is here. We are in the era of Gen AI, and if you are missing this, I would say go ahead, explore these models, and you will fall in love with them. Okay, well, in order to run a generative model, you might need at this point either a usage through web browsers. So there are some companies such as Google company provides Gemini models. OpenAI, this company provides your favorite ChatGPT. Whereas other companies, they also provide this Claude and other more interesting solutions through which you can run generative models. In fact, if you're running on a Windows machine, Windows environment, you have Bing as your web browser. So even if I turn on Bing for you, you will be able to see that where should you start your search today. So the complete search has been AI based. In fact, we have uh, this being right over here, which is able to generate with talk to us, walk to us through different aspects. For example, I just gave it an Excel sheet. I just asked a country-wise bar chart, and the model is able to give it to me. Whereas I can go ahead and ask that, can you do it at continent-wise? Whereas this is a very beautiful representation of the what model was able to give me, and I would say that even Gemini failed at this point to generate this graph with this accuracy. The number of counts and details are really good. So there's so many ways in which we can run. For an example, if we have to run something which is local to us, which on kind of data which we do not want to expose. What do I mean by expose? First of all, okay. So all these companies, be it ChatGPT, be it Gemini, be it Bing, or any other place where we are running models, okay, how things work. So I'll assume, or let me not assume, I'll just explain you in simple that everything depends upon a program. Somewhere on this earth, on some table, using some keyboard, someone writes a program, okay, they develop a product, could be a website, could be a software, could be a software providing service like Gemini or ChatGPT. Even these are softwares, right, which are available to us. Somewhere they write it, somewhere on some computer they deploy it. So on earth somewhere, there are places where Gemini is hosted, there are places where ChatGPT is hosted. So whatever we talk to these models, suppose I'm typing that my age is this, my name is this, my email ID, my bank account is this, I'm having difficulty with my bank, and so on. Whatever I'm typing, it goes from the internet, it goes to these models, and your data is your privacy is at risk when you share some sensitive or personal information. When I say it at risk, it is because if at all this data is leaked, if at all any of these companies face any attack or data leakage, security leakage, you might be exposed to hackers. Okay, so which is why we have to be little careful when we are working with this model, especially in the cloud environment. So remember, ChatGPT, Gemini, they excel really good. The reason to use these models is because they are really great state of the art models. Okay, well, there are other ways to run models for security reason. One is to host it offline, but it comes with a drawback of what? These models, they are large. Why they are large? They are large because of the size. They are large because of the amount of training data they capture to train or build something as huge as this. Okay, so these models cannot fit in your personal machines. These models cannot even fit in your mediocre machines. To get a performance at chat gpt or Gemini level, you might need multiple lakhs of investment to run these models locally, but there is a trade-off in between that. For many of our use cases, we don't even need such big models. If you have even 6 GB, 8 GB, 12 GB graphic card with you, if you're running on a desktop, if you're running on laptops like 4060 is a 8 GB laptop graphic card. If you're running on such mediocre graphic cards also, you can host some great 8 billion, 13 billion models locally. Okay, so wait, what is this billion thing I'm talking about? So yeah, I'll give you one example. Okay, so if we buy some cold drink, we measure the size in milliliters, ml, है ना? We say thumbs up का 20 rupees वाला bottle दे दो, or we say give me a 200 ml bottle, give me a half a liter bottle, give me 1 liter or 2 liter bottle, right? Similarly, when we buy cars, you might be enthusiastic to see that it has a 1 liter engine, 1.2 liter engine, 1.3 turbojet engine, something like that, right? So all these models, bigger the number, the bigger the model, right? So similarly, these models, they have different different ways, or different, you can say different nodes. So there are like nodes which take decision. So how our brain has different neurons, like billions of neurons, and they are all connected to make decision. So these models in their architecture have billions of parameters which take input and generate output. Okay, so so that is where the billions come from, the billions of parameters involved in these models. So 7 billion would mean a model which has 7 billion parameters in it. Okay, so for your normal 4060 GPU, you can fit models like 7, 8 billion and 13 billion, but on quantized variations. Again, we are completely going off the topic. Quantized would mean something that there will be little lighter versions. That's it. That's all. Distilled versions. That's it. So with that being said, we know a little bit about what these models are, and consider this as an encouragement. Consider whatever I have explained you till now in the last 3 4 minutes as an encouragement to learn about what is open source models, to learn a little bit more about what do I mean by parameters, billions of parameters, and talk to a LLM. Why not? Okay. So for an example, if I go ahead and ask this LLM, what are parameters in a large language model? Okay. Explain difference in 7 billion and 13 billion, and finally also explain the concept of quantization. Okay, each explanation should be precise and short, not more than 10 lines each. Okay, so let me hit this. Now the model will generate. Parameters are weight in neural network that determine how input is transformed into output. They stores are learning. Whatever the model learned in the training cycle is stored in these parameters. They define the model's capacity and accuracy. In short, parameters is the knowledge of the model. The bigger the number of parameters, the more the knowledgeable the model is. So this is it, this is it, this is it. Okay, so quantization reduces the precision of parameters. For example, if you're doing calculations in point 32 number of after point, you only limit it to 8 bits or 8 pointers only. So you can read about these things. Okay, now that we have a fair idea of what type of generative models we can use, let us see some common platforms. One is Gemini.com. Other common platform is OpenAI, of course. OpenAI is quite famous. OpenAI Chat GPT. So chatgpt.com is another place where we can talk to these models. Okay. Okay, maybe let's say we can quickly log in over here. I'll use any of my account at this point. Image are now better with this new model. Okay, try now. Why not? Let's try a model. Okay, generate an image of Rottweiler dog. Okay, running through an apo. Okay, let's see how would this turn out. Whereas ChatGPT free is okay. Your current plan. That's fine by me. Close this. Okay, introducing new and improved memory. ChatGPT now remembers your recent chats, so need to repeat often. Cool. Okay, that's fine. Don't show me. Whereas if I ask this model that write a short introduction to Feynman technique. Okay, I have to explain this to freshers who have never heard about this concept. You can use analogy examples, but please keep the explanation short. Let's see what the model has to answer. Whereas, nice, this is really a cool picture of Rottweiler running through an eclipse quarantine. It feels like something has really gone wrong. And looking at the rust on the cars, the destruction of buildings, and how creepers have taken over, It doesn't seem like a recent apocalypse. It looks like months and months into it. Amazing. I think this is the magic of generative AI, that generative AI can create content for us, and be it text, image, audio, video, and it is improving day by day. So, yet more, you can say, reasons to learn it before it's too late. So the Feynman technique we are talking today is a simple way to learn anything by explaining it as if you are teaching a 5-year-old. Whereas, if I was to explain you, this one single line is more than enough. But it is based on the idea that if you truly understand something, you should be able to describe it in clear, simple language. So, from where does this notion comes? So, this was directly mentioned by Richard Feynman, that his idea was that if anyone is good with a concept, then this person should be able to explain the concept in most easy language possible. So, for an example, if we talk about some writers, for example, Javed Akhtar, lyricist and writer, he is, you can say, an epitome in his domain. He is at the pinnacle of writing. Could be Gulzar, could be Javed. So these people are really renowned in the kind of work they do. Okay, so if we talk about them, there's one special thing about these people. What is that? So the specialty is that these people can convey shairis, these people can convey message or poems in most simple language. And in fact, like, this comes again from, I'm quoting Javed Akhtar sir in one of his interview, that he mentioned through again some dialects with his, you can say, father-in-law, and he mentions this, that it is, for a learned person, it is easier to write or explain in complex way than in simpler notions. Okay, because, well, that came from the context of vocabulary and writing concepts. But if we come back and we apply this idea to a general level, even if I have to explain to someone what AI is, okay, and if I'm feeling to do that to a 5-year-old, 10-year-old, 15, 20-year-old, I might. There are chances, according to Sir Richard, there are chances that we have not yet fully developed complete understanding of what AI is. Then, okay. So again, imagine you're trying to explain how a bicycle works to a friend who has never seen one. You can hide behind fancy words. You must break it down into basics. You push the pedal, which turns the wheel, and that makes the bicycle move forward. If you get stuck, it will show what you still need to learn. Okay, so, well, that's the idea. I'll explain you in short, I think, what this idea is supposed to be. See, how Feynman techniques work is, number one, we pick up a concept. Okay, when we pick a concept, it is something that we want to check or judge ourselves कि हमें आता है कि नहीं. Okay, then what we do is we pick up a human. Obviously, this is your friend that you will pick up. Could be your nephew, could be your younger sibling, could be your parents, could be your friends, but you will pick them up and treat them as a dummy. You will try to explain them. Maybe you can also do a mock interview of yourself in front of a mirror, record yourself to evaluate, but you will try to explain the concept in your own words, as if you are speaking to a 10-year-old, 5-year old. Well, let's say 10 years is a better area to be at. You will have, so one thing that you will have to do is you will have to avoid jargons and complexities. Okay, so that's the goal over here. So once you evaluate, you can ask the user, you can ask your recording, you can view your recording and identify gaps. You can pay attention to where you got stuck, where your explanation is shaky, and were you at any point you had to resort to some complex vocabularies, some complex meanings, uh, to explain that particular part. Okay, if so, if was it to hide your confusion, that vocabulary, you need to go back, read your source material, and come back to us. Okay, so which is where, I think, okay, I was showing you some image. Where was it? Right over here, right? Yes. So the reason I picked this image is to explain you through again one thing. So imagine that you are a student, okay, and currently you are reading chapter 10, light, reflection and refraction. You see how this student might have spent the entire night reading through this text. He is using pens to underline important parts, the highlighters to again mark important things, writing some laws of reflection, important things like this. Again, this is an AI based image that I generated, but the idea here is that if you look at it, this person or this student, uh, even if they have read this chapter for the very first time in their life, that night they might have the content that, okay, I have understood this concept very well, and now I'm done with it. But next morning, or maybe in a day or two, if we ask the student to explain this concept, to explain someone the laws of reflection and refraction, it gets a little difficult, right? You have to go back and learn it. That's where the learning curve, that's where the learning process actually hits. So what is happening with the education system is that we emphasize a lot on mugging things up, or rectification, that's the jargon we use, and we lose the essence of learning, which is where I think generative AI is playing a really important role in not only forcing us to open our brain and draw conclusions from it, to go at a cognitive level and actually learn the topics, than to just mug them up, right? So so what I'm going to do is, let us start off with any generative model, okay? So by the way, the reason I picked physics over here is again because it is my favorite topic. Earlier, the model gave the same output as an chemistry image, and this was my prompt, okay? This prompt was really successful at generating what I wanted to show you all, okay? Now, there are different ways you can access a large language model. If you go to chatgpt.com, that is fine. If you go to gemini.com, that is fine. But I do not want you to go to these platforms. I want you to use studio grade platforms, okay? So for OpenAI, it is Playground, okay? Now, the reason I don't want you to use Playground is this Playground is paid. Whatever you're seeing on my screen is not accessible to unpaid versions. So, for an example, if I say play, let me search Playground over here. Uh, Playground. Okay. If I go over here, you will realize that it will say that first complete your payment. Payment method needed. You need to set up billing before you use Playground. So avoid it. Okay, what you can do is you can always come back. Don't even use binge chat, because I want you to use a little bit of system prompts. Okay, let's come here. Let's go back to Gemini. Why Gemini? Because Gemini AI Studio is free of cost. When I say free of cost, at least for now, it is available with good amount of free trial. So when we go to aistudiogoogle.com, we reach here, which is a playground for Gemini models. Now in this playground, on the right side, you will see that there are a few important settings we can choose from. Number one is what kind of model we want to work with. Okay. Now that we have the model with us, the model card, we can choose whatever we want. Let's keep it Gemini 3 Pro, let's keep it Gemini 2.5 Pro or Flash. Okay, so how different are these models is that, see, for an example, let's understand that we have different phones, right? So iPhone 17 or iPhone 16 can come in different variations, like mini 16, and then 16 Pro, 16 Pro Max, right? Something like that. And what's the difference? Well, I think we all know what's the difference between these phones. So similarly, Gemini 2 series would come in different categories, like 2 Flash Lite. This would be like 16 mini, something comparable to small models. You know, I started this discussion with the concept of 7 billion, 13 billion, number of billions of parameters in each model. So lighter models have lesser, but they are really good at speed. Now, as a student, you might be wondering that why would I even want to work with these models? Why not directly pick up the top of the shelf, which is the Pro model? Well, the idea here is we don't want to overkill something. Okay, so for an example, in order to kill an ant, of course, it's a harmful example I'm taking, but suppose if you have to kill an ant, you will not use a nuke to destroy the ant, right? So similarly, the reason being that suppose if the task is so simple that we just need to rephrase something, we just need to format something, we just need to make sure that the grammar is correct, or rephrase or write an email. Such simple tasks they might be really good with some mini of the shelf models like flashlight, something like this would work. Whereas flash models or the not the flashlight but the flash models will be really good at taking some balanced amount of task. When I say balanced, I would mean something about a little bit of image generation, little bit about reasoning, concept, still be like best uh, price to performance to speed ratio. So flash models are really good at that. And the more you go with 2.5 2 models, you are getting more into the latest series like iPhone 15 says 16 to 17 पे जा रहे हो, and flash latest being the latest ones. Whereas 2.5 Pro are like top of the models which are like all rounders. फिर इसमें कोडिंग हो, कॉम्प्लेक्स टास्क हो, they are really good at it. For now you can keep it at 3 Pro. System prompt or system instructions are the kind of instructions that you can set for a particular model. For example, let me ask this model that can you explain the concept of what concept should I pick up of DO, how it travels in a medium. Okay, for example, I'll ask this question. I'll also ask the model to please keep response short and precise. Okay, let's ask this. So let us see what the model can come back to us with. Since we are using a pro model, it might take some time. Audio travels as a mechanical wave created by vibrations. Here is the precise process. Vibration क्या है? A sound source vibrates pushing near particles. ठीक है, forget it. Now, to keep things short and precise, we will skip this. I'll show you what system instructions does. Okay, so for example, I'll create maybe so we did a separate a session on analogy generator. If you all remember, we did a live about this. So what I will say is that you are a helpful assistant who helps concepts in a specific format. Okay, so let's explain the format. So this is how you write a good prompt. You be very precise, clear, define the role. So number one line, what I'm doing, I'm defining the role. You're a helpful assistant. Does what I'm assigning the task, who is help concepts in specific format, and then I'm giving details on how the output should look like. Format, paragraph one, short and complete, explain in simple terms and easy to grasp for pressures. Okay, then paragraph number two, a simple analogy example to solidify the information explained above. Okay, format. Remember now some solidification to the prompt. Ideally, we will not do it in the very first course. So when we do prompt engineering, I think what we have written by this point is enough. We can add some constraints. Okay, so let us add some. You can say constraints. Okay, so constraints के अंदर we can add that you only respond back to doubts. Okay, you do not waste time in chatting. Okay, apart from follow up doubts or queries. Okay, something like that. And you always respond with least token usage, but at say okay. I think least token usage is fine because this is how we will teach the model to be precise. When I say precise, we mean not to write too much for a given concept. Okay, well, that's fine. I think this should work. You can add more constraints like you only talk about physics domain, then it will only talk about that, something like that. Okay. Now, what I will do is I'll explain or I'll ask the same question again. I'll ask the same question word by word, character by character again, and you will see what is the role of system instructions. So this was the answer given previously to us for this question. Now if we repeat this question again with our system instructions, you will see the kind of response we are getting. Okay. So number one, audio travels as a mechanical longitudinal wave caused by vibrations. When a source vibrates, it pushes nearby particles into a medium like air and then creates a chain reaction of collision and so on and so on. So the audio travels. Okay. Now, an analogy is that think of long line of people standing in a queue. If the person at the back shoves the person in front, that person bumps into the next, and this passing of shove forwards. So you see how you are passing pushes from one person to other. Something could also be labeled as Dominic effect, things like that. Well, Dominic effect is not truly exactly here, but I think this analogy is somewhere vaguely okay. But I think this analogy works. The disturbance travels all the way to the front line, but the people remain standing in their original spots. Okay, so something like that. I think this is good. This does work, and with this, I think we solidify our foundation of how to use a large language model. Number one, how to choose model. Number two, what system instructions does. Okay, now number three is temperature setting. So temperature setting, so by default it uses 1 for Gemini. By default for some models the range could be between 0 to 1. Gemini 0 से 2 तक जाता है. Okay, but if you're keeping it near to 0 or anywhere less than 1 or near to the left hand side, you're making the model more strict, more accurate, and less creative. You will use this for tasks which involve reasoning, rational approach, and less of creativity. In our case, I think we can keep it somewhere around zero point 0.3, zero point 0.4, 0.5 should work. Okay. Whereas if you were generating images, generating some creative content, story writing, essay writing, content writing, 1, 8.8, 0.75, 1.4, 1.25, you can play around with that. Okay. Whatever works for your use case. Higher the temperature, the more the model can hallucinate. Okay. So remember that part. Whereas thinking is how a model can self-reflect. Let me show you this example. So in this question itself, if you drop this down, you will realize that these were the thoughts the model played around with before generating the answer. What was it? Exploring sounds journey. I've been mapping this, then crafting the core concepts. Then the model chose core concepts. It simplified the analogy, it visualized the sound waves, and it did some internal thinking, it did some thought process before coming up with this answer. So if you want your model to have thinking, see, we can clearly take this as you see, whenever we go for interviews, we get a common advice from people that uh, whenever someone asks you a question, do not immediately start responding back. Take your time, self reflect, absorb, generate the answer, and think about it, then reply. Why does this technique work? Because you're doing something same what this model does. Internally, you're using your thoughts to build this answer. All right, so let us start off with choosing a system instruction. I'll say Feynman technique. Okay, I'll use a base prompt on top of which I'll do some modifications. Okay, your goal is to work as a assistant who understands Richard Feynman concept of learning. Okay, act as let me right click as a curious intelligent 12-year-old student. I'm your teacher. Okay, for the role play we are doing to learn with concept. Okay, topic I am going to explain. This is where you can insert your topic now. I'm keeping it generic because you all would like to uh, practice it your way. Okay, your goal is to learn this topic from me. You currently know nothing about it. Your instruction: do not explain the topic to me. Wait for me to explain it to you. Listen actively. If I use complex words, jargons, or acronyms without defining it, stop me immediately. Ask me what does that mean. Test my logic. If I explain something vague, ask for an example or an analogy. One question only. Ask one clarifying question at a time so that I don't get overwhelmed. Okay. Stay in character. Do not break the character until I say and lesson. Are you ready for first lesson? Okay. Okay. I can give it a one more task, and When I say end lesson, you give me a rating of out of 10 about how good I am with given topic. Okay, uh, respond back with a reason to justify the rating too. Okay, all right, are you ready for your first lesson? Let's add the topic to explain artificial intelligence. Okay, all right, so let's say you're a 12-year-old curious student named let's keep it Richard. Okay, let's keep it like this. Let's keep the temperature to zero point 0.5. Fine. Thinking level, we can keep it high. This is fine. System instruction set. Gemini 3 Pro. Hello, Richard. Let's see where this chat takes us. Hi, teacher. I am ready. You said you were going to explain artificial intelligence to me. I have never heard about it before. Where do we start? Uh, okay. So, would you since he's asking me where do we start, okay, so why don't we start with understanding the base concept of AI. Okay, is abbreviation for artificial intelligence. Okay, I get that AI stands for intelligence, but what does it actually mean? It's like a robot that can think like a person. Yes, that's a very good way to keep it, Richard. AI is like a robot who can think like a person, okay? Let me add some depth to it. We as humans are born naturally like any other being, be it living or non living. We all are part of nature, which we call natural or nature made. Okay, but you see how humans have been curious to know about things, invent things, okay, and learn. We started pondering, okay, you is added about the concept of intelligence. For now, I assume you can think of intelligence something which comes from our brain, okay, where we naturally see, interact, learn, and upgrade with our surrounding. For example, when we feel cold, we learn to use fire, and now we have reached to a point where cold is no more a problem to us. Okay. Similarly, the concept of AI was developed by humans out of curiosity to understand how intelligence works. Can we somehow create intelligence? Okay, what if humans can make it through? Okay, so not like that. I think I am really puzzled. You will see that I am being very candid in this process, and I am pretty sure I have wasted a lot of time explaining some things a lot. So I'll cut short a little bit. Okay, uh, how you can create it? This is this led to the foundation of concept intelligence made by humans, or we call it made artificially. So AI in itself is just a concept, and the robot you imagine is its application. Let us say I'm explaining to a 12-year-old. What else do you expect from me? I can only talk in stories. You said that robot is the application. What does that mean? Is it like when I apply glue to paper, or like an app on a tablet? Well, for now, for simplicity, I would say end lesson. Okay, just to keep it short, and let us see what response do we get. Pretty bad. I gave you this rating because you didn't get very far. You started off okay by accepting my robot idea, but then you got a little complicated. You use words like application and talked about foundation of concept, which is hard for a 12-year-old to picture. I totally agree with this. The main reason the score is low is that when I asked you to explain application meant you ended the lesson. Okay, it really got angry that we ended the lesson just on the first attempt. According to Feynman technique, if you can't explain jargon simply, you haven't fully mastered. But that's fine. I think I am really sorry I couldn't talk more to you, AI. But definitely, this is really interesting, and uh, I hope you all enjoyed this session thoroughly, and you all can practice this along with many of the interesting learning methods that we have taught earlier on the channel. You can always go back and watch the Socrates, you can watch the analogy generator, you can watch today's session, of course, and let us know your stories. Come back to us in the chat, come back to us in the future sessions. Tell us what were your experience, what topics did you train with AI, what did you learn, how was your experience, okay? So, as usual, it is always a pleasure to have you all right in this live sessions with us. And I'm more than happy to be here to share and give back to the community whatever I can. Meanwhile, thanks for being here. Learn strong, stay hard. Tata, bye bye, good night, sayonara.